Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Mma Analyst here to do my preview for UFC 123. Guys, I was not lying about last week, just trying to make it through. I actually got a little bit of heat. Like, man, you guys, you only want to... Like, I love all MMA. I'm just saying, you know, free or not, I still want to watch some good fights. Damn. By the way, if you see this kind of attire, dress attire, it's just because I came home from work and didn't change. It's not because I'm trying to get dressed up to be the MMA analyst and none of that. I'm just saying. Check out whotheman.com. I'll be putting up a video later on tonight, which is really Thursday morning. It'll be what I think would go down between Jake Shields and John Fitch. Check it out, whotheman.com. UFC 123. Quentin Rampage Jackson is going to try and get a win against one of the toughest guys to try and, you know, when you're trying to get a win, and that's Machida. Rampage, we know Rampage. We know the pre-UFC Rampage and then the post-UFC Rampage. Pre-UFC Rampage had the nickname Slam Page, and he was out there getting takedowns, slamming people, you know, suplexes and power bombs, and just lifting people up and bringing them down faster than gravity would normally set up on its own. You know, he was helping people get down to earth, you know, Rampage style. And you mix that in with some aggression and some youthfulness and some hunger and whatever else it was. And you had Rampage Jackson, a guy with a crazy, just a jaw, doesn't get knocked out unless it's against, like, you know, 30 Wanderlei Silva knees, uncontested. And it's just, you know, a beast and, you know, doing his thing. And came over to the UFC, had some very tough fights. His first fight against Chuck, actually, that's Marvin Eastman, knocked him out. Chuck Liddell knocked him out. But the one that really impressed me the most was against Dan Henderson, the 5-round fight where Dan Henderson was trying to get this fight to the ground. Man, he was trying. And Quentin Rampage Jackson had the cardio and that drive inside of him to, you know, defend the title that he had against the title that Dan Henderson had. And I know that he had lots and lots and lots of pride about that, because he was really pissed that they never really talked about Rampage being the first guy to hold 2 belts from Pride and UFC at the same time. They always left that to Anderson. But he's like, that was me. So I know he had something about that. He didn't think he needed to train against Forrest Griffin, and he got beat. He came back, fired up over Wanderlei Silva, and did what he does. He barely got out of the fight with Keith Jardine. If it wasn't for like a knockdown late in the 3rd round, he probably would have lost that fight. And he lost to Rashad. But there's a big difference between the first Rampage and this new Rampage. This new Rampage is a only stand-up, boxing-only guy. He will not go for takedowns. He's not trying to clinch up. He's not trying to slam you. He becomes some anti-ground Rampage, trying to stuff takedowns only Jackson. No slam Page. And that's not what he needs to be nowadays against these younger, faster, better striking guys. He can't try and be the same Rampage that knocked out Chuck and Wanderlei Silva. That's not going to work against these other cats. And in particular, this Machida cat. The cheetah, right? People used to call him, or maybe it's just me, Machida, like the fast cat that runs around that you can't catch. Well, Shogun caught him. But the point is, that's not going to work. I don't know if Machida is going to go for any takedowns, and I think the only reason he might want to do that is to tire out Quentin Rampage Jackson, who hasn't necessarily shown that he's, you know, ready to go and able to go 15 minutes. He went 25 with Dan, wrestling the entire time. And against Rashad, he had him rocked, if my memory serves me correctly, and couldn't finish the fight because he was too tired. And you can't be not ready to go 15 minutes of serious chase pace, and B, only trying to hit somebody with the left hook, especially if that somebody is Machida. Machida basically undefeated until his first fight with Shogun, but he won that fight according to the judges, so now he's undefeated in the rematch, got blasted, hardcore. Just got to bring that up just because, you know. But anyways, other than that, he's never really been in too much crazy trouble. He was in a triangle against Tito late in that fight and other than that, he's handled his business like very few have in mixed martial arts. And he's going to come to this fight with a serious speed advantage in both hands and feet, striking and moving, cardio. I just think that Rampage is in trouble. And this is a fight that I've always been kind of like, damn, I want this fight to happen, but I don't really want it to happen because Rampage might just look like Tito in Tito's fight, and Tito looked bad. If Rampage can somehow get inside, if he can be aggressive and really track down Machida, I mean, he can knock him out. But he can't get too tired doing that. He can't get reckless. He can't try and counter. And that's what he's been doing. He was countering, Vanderlei. He was countering Chuck with that nice little hook. But he's not going to counter Machida. He couldn't even properly counter Rashad. And I know MMA math is no good, but if you were just talking about speed, then yeah, MMA math is great. I mean, Rampage is slower than Rashad. Rashad is slower than Machida. Therefore, Rampage is way slower than Machida. I don't see this fight ending any other way other than a Machida decision by just getting in, pound, pound, bang, bang, just looking good, getting out, getting in, looking good, getting out. And Rampage, probably I'd say 45 strikes. Just swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. I'm rooting for Rampage. If Rampage finds a way to win this, it makes things a whole lot more interesting for the light heavyweight division. You've got potentially Lyoto Machida fighting other guys other than Rashad or Shogun. I personally think if Rampage loses this fight, he will fight, I don't know, a money fight next. But I don't think any way you look at it, they're going to give Machida the title shot after this fight. Remember, before I said they wouldn't give him a title shot for anything. And the stars aligned and everything happened and they had to. It just had to be Machida. But right now, I don't think they want to go back to the potential of a Machida era. Especially if they think Shogun is coming off that long-ass surgery and the third knee injury, and maybe Rashad might be the champ and Machida will kill. So I think what's going to happen is if he wins, he's going to fight John Jones if and when he beats Ryan Bader. And I think that will set up a fight where it's like, well, whoever wins here gets it, because at least we can figure something out. But I don't think they're going to give him the title shot after a win here. If Quentin Rampage wins, they're going to give him the title shot for sure. Especially if they just cross their fingers that Shogun can win. Anyways, I don't know how much time I spent on that, but let's move on. Matt Hughes versus BJ Penn. BJ Penn, forget about all the who did what, blah, blah, blah. Let's just put it like this. He's been looking rough. He got outfought for sure in his last fight. And in the fight before that, he didn't do enough to win in the judges' eyes. But it doesn't matter because he lost. And he is what he's always been. He's been a very good striker, awesome on the ground, great takedown defense, bad cardio, not the best camp, the heart not really there. the ego exploding. And he's already fought Matt Hughes. The stand-up here is going to be just a massive landslide towards BJ Penn. If this fight goes to decision, Matt Hughes wins. Simple as that. I don't see and the winner by unanimous decision, or and the winner by split decision, or and the winner by anything other than TKO or submission or knockout BJ Penn. So Matt Hughes is going to try and get in, get the fight to the ground, get it against the cage, just tire out BJ Penn. Odds are he's not ready to go 15 minutes of somebody grinding on him. Just that's just chances are. And that's what Matt Hughes is going to want to do. BJ Penn is going to jab and move and stay on his feet and just try and be elusive, not evasive. I don't think he's going to run, but he's going to try and stuff any takedowns after, Matt Hughes throws a strike or maybe a 1-2 and tries to drop levels and go for a takedown. I do have Matt Hughes not getting a takedown in the first round. If he gets out of the first round, then his chances for winning are much higher. If he goes into the second round and he hasn't been beat up too much in the first round, and he comes out and he gets a takedown, he can still win. But I have BJ Penn being able to avoid that third loss in a row. I have him boxing Matt Hughes up real bad in round 1, coming out in round 2 and finishing the job. Not to say it's going to be a flawless fight. I do think he will get taken down, but maybe he'll be able to get back up quick enough. We will see. By the way, Matt Hughes, amazing submission over Ricardo Almeida in his last fight. Nice TKO over the guy they brought in for him to beat, Renzo Gracie, in the fight before that. And against Matt Serra, close fight, which I actually thought he lost, but it counts as a win. 45 wins, 7 losses, Matt Hughes. All right, so I'm picking BJ Penn. Phil Davis versus Tim Boetsch. Simple as this. Tim Boetsch is a tough guy. He's actually done a lot better than I thought he would. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. Only of those 4, only one of them is in the UFC. He actually was blasted out of the UFC by Jason Brills. But anyways, keep this short and simple. John Jones. What's his name? Phil Davis is better than Tim Boetsch at everything. His wrestling game is way better. His stand-up is not only better, but improving. He's probably, even though Boetsch has that, nasty toss he did against, I forget who it was, but he might even be stronger. Just Phil Davis is better in every aspect of the game. I expect Phil Davis to absolutely just is moon stomp. Is that a phrase? Moon stomp, or maybe stomp him with moon boots. Whatever the point is, or maybe a bigger planet where the stomp will be more of a serious thing because the gravity's heavier. The point is, I think Phil Davis is gonna destroy him in this fight. And after this, then they'll be like, all right, well, let's try and get him some tougher fights. But it's a good test, but I think he's going to pass it with flying colors. George Sotiropoulos versus Joe Lozon. Sotiropoulos coming off a great win over Kurt Pellegrino, a massive win over Joe Stevenson, Jason Dent, George Roop, Roman Machayan. Okay, great. He's doing awesome. His jiu-jitsu is great. His striking is... I'm liking his striking. I'm really liking his head movement. I'm liking his jabs and his crosses and his striking. Overall, I'm really liking George Sotiropoulos on this MMA tip. Joe Lozon coming off of a destruction over Gabe Ruediger. A loss to Sam Stout in a fight of the night. And win over Jeremy Stevens. Really nice win there. Kyle Bradley before that. And lost to Kenny Florian. Joe Lozon's going to want to keep it on the feet, but I actually think that on the feet, I mean, the ability to maybe cause harm might go to Joe Lozon. But overall, I think George Sotiropoulos with his head movement and his just crisp striking and his nice techniques, I actually might think that George Sotiropoulos, in my eyes, has the better striking. If not, maybe the better striking in fighting. Definitely if you wanted to teach somebody technique. But I'm just going to say in fighting, his technique is, it's really improving. He's obviously working on it. And if the fight goes to the ground, Sotiropoulos, I think, will mangle Joe Lauzon. Not to say that Joe Lauzon isn't, solid, but I think he'll just be able to beat him. If it's on the feet, I think Sotiropoulos can hold his own. So really, when it comes down to it, this is Sotiropoulos' fight to win or lose. I think that he's going to win. I don't think it's going to be like a destruction or anything. I think this is going to be the fight of the night. I think it's going to go for as long as Joe Lauzon keeps it going. As long as it doesn't go to the ground and he gets put in a really bad position, I think we might have a couple really good scrambles on the ground, some nice striking. I think this is going to be the fight of the night, but I'm picking Sotiropoulos. And then in the last fight that I'm going to talk about here, Gerald Harris versus Michael Falcao, Brazilian. Gerald Harris, 17-2. He's 3 wins in a row in the UFC. TKO, KO, TKO. He's looked good. He even defeated Nick Osternick, who's now in the UFC, just before coming to the UFC. His only losses are to Benji Radic and Fabio Leopoldo. Controversial loss with IFL. But anyways, obviously he can knock people out, but it's not like he's just going to come out there and try and strike with Michael Falco, who is basically... he's shoot box. What is it, like 25 wins, 21 by TKO. Out of his like 20, however many fights, 28 fights, like 3 of them have gone past the first round. Look, obviously one of these two guys doesn't go out there to have fun and to stick around. Gerald Harris needs to take this fight to the ground, put Falcao on his back, and just chill and finish him there. Elbows, whatever, tire him out. He's going to be able to go longer. He's fought for longer, more recently, and just that needs to be the game plan. I think that's what the game plan is going to be. If he doesn't get the fight to the ground right away and keep that fight on the ground and tire homeboy out, he's going to get knocked out. But I think he will take him to the ground. By the way, Falcao has lost to... one of his losses is to Fabio Maldonado, who's actually at light heavyweight right now. But anyways, so that's my main card picks. I'm picking Phil Davis by second round, TKO by ground and pound. I'm picking Brian Foster to boot Matt Brown out of the UFC. I'm not saying that's what I'm rooting for. Just I think that the Immortal's done. I'm picking Munoz over Aaron Simpson. I'm actually going to go with Hallman over Carl Parisian. Carl's coming out for a year suspension and whatnot. No, yeah, whatever. The point is he's been gone for a while. Edson Barboza. I'm taking him over Mike Lullo. I'm going to take TJ O'Brien over Paul Kelly. And I'm going to take Tyson Griffin over Nick Lentz. Damn, Nick Lentz won a fight. And they said to the bottom of the card for you. MMA, y'all. It's important. Peace.